We all love color notes in our music. You know, those notes that make the chord sound, ooh, really good. But what do you do with those color notes after the chord that you use them on? Where should they go? That's what we're going to talk about today on Dr. Doug's Tips for How to Write Great LDS Church Music. We're going to use a primary song, Once Within a Lowly Stable, to help us solve this problem. Okay, so what do I mean by color notes? Well, color notes are these additional tones that we add on. So let me zoom in over here on this little staff spot. If you have a 5 chord, we're in the key of G here, so let's write up a 5 chord, D, F, A. That's just a normal 5 chord. But you can add a 7th on top. Ooh, that makes it have this other color. So the regular 5 chord, but then the 7th adds the color. Or you could add another color tone, the 9th above that. The 9th, and so on. Well, the color tone we're going to talk about specifically today is the 7th. So here's the principle. Whenever you have a chord that has a 7th on it, it sounds wonderful, but you need to know where to take that 7th next. Okay? Let's play a part of this song, and we're going to keep our ears peeled for this particular 5-7 chord right here. Okay? When we get there, we're going to look for the 7th, and then we're going to hear how it resolves, where it goes next, and that will give us the principle that we're looking for here. Alrighty. Okay, we're almost there. Here we go. All right. Now, there were a bunch of other cool things that happened before that, but those are more detailed for the space that we have today. What I want you to focus on is this note right here. Okay, D7, we're in the key of G, so the D7 chord is our 5-7 chord, which is spelled D, F sharp, A, C natural. The C natural being the color tone or the 7th. Where does this 7th go? D, C, B. It goes down by step. So that is the principle I want you to hold on to. The 7th of any chord, when it resolves, it wants to resolve down by step. This is true in a 5-7 chord especially, but also true for other 7 chords, like it could be a 2-7, or you could have a 6 chord with a 7th on it. You could even have a 1 chord or a 4 chord with a 7th on it. The big principle is whenever you have a 7th, it's wanting to resolve down. Now, there are some circumstances where I personally don't always do that, but for me, it's usually on what we call non-dominant 7th chords. In other words, if you have a 1-7, or a 2-7, or a 3-7, or a 4-7, or a 6-7, there are times when I break this rule. And it's usually with these non-dominant 7th chords, meaning they're not the 5-7. 5-7 is the dominant 7th chord. And that one, it's really tough to break the rule of, taking the 7th down by step. Because this particular 7th, let's zoom in a little more. Again, we're in the key of G major. So this 7th, the C, that's the 4th note in the G major scale. G, A, B, C, the 4th scale degree. And the 4th scale degree is only a half step away from the 3rd scale degree. So because of that half step relationship, the gravity of this 7th really pulls it down to the step below. Okay, so 5-7s, I don't recommend you break this rule of taking the seventh down by step. And even for a while, as you're beginning to learn to write and use sevenths, I don't recommend you break this rule. I recommend that you take the seventh on any one of these chords and resolve it down by step. Now, as you get a little more advanced in your writing and you're developing your own sound, there are times when, okay, not resolving that seventh down by step might be just fine. And I'll just give you one example of that. There's a technique that Debussy invented called planing, where you take the shape of one chord and you play that same shape on the next step up or the next step down. So sometimes you'll get like a minor 2 chord, and then you'll get a minor 3 chord right after it. And so you might have minor 2 7. There's the seventh, which goes to minor 3 7. So that seventh didn't technically resolve down because of this planing technique of taking the same shape of the chord and moving the exact same shape up to the next step or down to the next step. Sometimes I do slip in some of those planing techniques, even into my simplest primary songs or simplest hymns or other church music, because it just has a nice sound to it. So that's one time, if you are getting a little exploratory with your sevenths, where you might attempt breaking this rule in those planing situations. Otherwise, the rule is whenever you have a seventh, resolve it down by step. For more tips like this, you can head over to musiversity.me and look at all the cool harmony things you can get over there in our Latter-day Musiversity membership. And if you liked this video, please hit subscribe and ring the bell and share it with a friend who may enjoy it also. And we'll be back next time with more tips from the hymn book and from the Primary Children's Songbook. See you then.